Where there is peace, there is love. Where there is peace, ooh, you know there is love. All things come from Yahweh. All things come from Yahweh. Where there is
Shalom.
where they come from.
Shalom, brothers and sisters. Shalom. We hope, we pray that everybody is well and will be better. We are on the platforms More Yeshaya Torah Lessons, More Yeshaya Hebrew Lessons, and More Yeshaya Old Testament. Brothers and sisters, welcome to Danitepublications. If I can be heard well and people are in good spirits, please press the number 4. If I can be heard well and people are in good spirits, please press the number 4. We here at Danitepublications do not profess to know everything, and we are open to constructive criticism. Brothers and sisters, in this presentation, I must say there will be a lot of Hebrew. Screenshots are welcome. Questions too are welcome. Brothers and sisters, much respect to my brother and friend, Bergen Paris. Thank you for joining on with us, my brother and friend. All right? Hoping and praying that you and your family, your loved ones, are well and will be better. Brothers and sisters, we are going to, in this, speak upon a matter of peace offering. And what do we mean by that, brothers and sisters? In part, is that on this platform, we do cite the Apocrypha, and we're going to be reading parts out of it. And since, brothers and sisters, this particular presentation has a considerable amount of Hebrew, it is also on the platform Mordei Yeshaya Hebrew Lessons. This, brothers and sisters, this is in regards with what is called, say, the Old Testament. It is on the platform Mordei Yeshaya Old Testament. And because it is out of the Torah, brothers and sisters, it's on Mordei Yeshaya Torah Lessons. So, brothers and sisters, without any further ado, we are asking you to get your pens, your paper, your pads, and take notes. Okay? And again, we are open to constructive criticism, do not know everything, and we are open, brothers and sisters, for enlightenment. Thank you for that. The number I can be reached at is 908-587-4841. Again, that is 908-587-4841. Thank you for that. So without any further ado, brothers and sisters, let us pull up the PowerPoint and get into this particular matter. And it should show, I see, yes. Danitepublications, the telephone number as stated, subscribe. I'm asking you all to do so. For alms doth deliver from death, and shall purge away all sin. Those that exercise alms aright and righteousness shall be filled with life. Tobit chapter 12, verse 9. Now, brothers and sisters, we know that there is, and I say this in no disrespect, living, and then there is existing. Now, in Hebrew, to exist, in root is the Hebrew word hayah. And to live in Hebrew, in root is the word hayah, brothers and sisters. And in that, we want to, yes, exist, but in our existing, we want to live. We want to be well. We want to do well. We want to speak life into people. The Bible in the book of Genesis speaks about Joseph, brothers and sisters, speaking comfortably to his brother in regards with how they were feeling. He spoke life into them when they felt down, brothers and sisters. He spoke confidently with and to them when they did not feel as confident. No disrespect, the spies that came back, brothers and sisters, in later on portions of the Torah, saying we were as grasshoppers in our own sight. They didn't have that kazakwa and that omates, that strength and that courage that Moses and even Joshua was told to have. We are supposed to, as it says, let the redeemed of the Most High say so. We're not supposed to speak death to ourselves. We're not supposed to encourage that. We read in Proverbs that life and death is in the power of the tongue. So if that is the case, and if the Torah, if the scriptures is teaching us, this day have I set before you life and death, the blessing and the curse. And it says, choose life that you and your seed may live. Why would we choose death in the curse, brothers and sisters? If we know and understand that it says sin crosses at the door, and to you shall be its desire, but you shall rule over it. Meaning that the Most High is telling us that he knows, for the lack of a better term, temptations are there. For the lack of a better term, inclination to do that which is wicked is there. But the Most High is also telling us that as that is there, so do you have the power to rule. The Most High did not make us to be willful sinners. The Most High did not make us, brothers and sisters, to have to be that portion. As it said, the wicked is created for the day of evil. Who said that had to be you? That's the personal choice. It says in the prayer books that the Most High gives the wicked evil according to his wickedness. So why would we choose that which is incorrect when we know, brothers and sisters, the book of Ezekiel is telling us to have it to wit. That's the thing that the audio was choppy. All right. Let me see what's going on in that. Thank you for telling me. Yeah, see, that's the stuff that I need. Please keep me posted. Give me 1 second, family, on that. Sorry about that. Shalom, shalom. How's the audio? Shalom, shalom. How's the audio? Shalom, shalom. How's the audio? Is it better? Can I be heard much better? Let me know, please. Shalom, shalom. How's the audio? The audio is better now? Thank you for that, family. I appreciate it. All righty. So as we were saying, sorry about that. Please keep me posted on that. It definitely means a lot to me. And speaking upon that kind of matter, if we will, family, we are essentially to talk life into one another. I remember speaking with relatives and saying we should have, even though some may disagree, the feeling of entitlement, brothers and sisters. Some people may disagree with that. But what are we saying when we say that you should have the feeling of entitlement? You are entitled to respect, trust, and love. And as much as you are entitled to it, you are also obligated to give respect, trust, and love. What you may find is that they who may say or feel you got the feeling of entitlement, you don't really deserve that, are the people who do not intend to give what they're saying that you do not deserve. He or she is not a healthy person to be around. Proverbs teaches us, make no friendship with an angry man. Ecclesiasticus in the book of Sirach teaches us, separate from thy enemies and take heed to thy friends. So if we are to take heed to our friends, let's understand something about the Hebraic understanding of friend. A friend, as we already know, loves at all times. The Hebrew word chaber, brothers and sisters, meaning friend, comes from the root word chabar, which means to tie, brothers and sisters. So you have some, not trying to be disrespectful, who offer everlasting life, and then there are some that's everlasting content. There are some who just choose that way to not be on the better side of matters. So now if we are citing out of the Apocrypha here, and it says, for alms doth deliver from death, and shall purge away all sin. Why would we not want to take heed to that? Those that exercise alms and righteousness shall be filled with life. Now, some brothers or sisters may feel, oh, why go into the Apocrypha? Because you told me not to, that's why. I go there to find out what you're saying I shouldn't read. And this is not to sound arrogant. Being confident in one's faith, being confident in one's stance, a person can go and read quote unquote secular material that's not quote unquote canonized in a certain volume or so, and still be able to stand on one ground, if you will. You understand? So this again is something that we can bring out for reference purposes. All right. Now, sidebar, I want to give on a human level due respect to my older brother in spirit. It's all good who left the comment. Thank you for that. To the moderator, Brother Bergen, thank you for that. And you may have heard a kind of sound recently. That is the channel DCB that I subscribe to, brothers and sisters. Yeah, I have worshiped with those brothers before. You understand? Been in their camp, in their congregation before. You understand? And I have much respect for those brothers that's at the congregation DCB. So these are things that we can bring out. I recently been getting links about the congregations called the House of Israel in Cincinnati, and so forth. Much respect to the brother More Ishia. If I mispronounce your name, my fault, I apologize. And these are things, brothers and sisters, that, not trying to be funny, it doesn't take nothing away from you as a more to acknowledge another. See, that's part of giving alms. That's part of, for the lack of a better term, bigging your brother up. You understand? That's what we're supposed to do when it says, love thy neighbor as thyself. Love thy brother as thyself. Hate not thy brother in your heart, because what's inside of your heart, you cannot fake. It's going to show. You cannot fake love. Let me give an example, and this is a little of a extended kind of example. We were in school in the 8th grade, and the girls in the class were taking the opportunistic time to insult us males in the class. What am I saying? The girls in the class. Hen ratzu lemor debarim ra'im. They wanted to say bad things concerning us, Hazkarim, the males. Saying it in other words, they wanted to diss us. So they started making jokes, credo, and snaps, and silliness, and so forth. And when they got to one brother and snapping and dissing upon him, which happened to not been me, even though they did snap on me, when they got to one brother and snapping upon him, this sister said, "Don't talk about him like that." And everybody looked like, uh-oh, what happened? Now, mind you, this is one of the sisters, if I remember right, snapped on me. But that's not the main point. Once it came down to a particular brother in the class getting snapped on, as all of us males were, by the females that were there, this brother, by this particular lady, was not going to, if she had her way, get snapped on. Don't talk about him like that. And everybody knew she liked it. And then later on, not that it was our business, came out that they was, quote unquote, going steady or going out. But they kept that on the low between him, brother and sister, not biologically, of course. You understand? See, my point in mentioning that is that you cannot fake love. So even if you were trying to hide your relationship and liking, it's going to come out past. She could not tolerate the girls in the class, though she was one of them snapping on us males. She could not tolerate that particular brother being snapped on. Just the same, if a person were to be known for fronting, for the lack of a better term, acting, playing games, being funny style, if you will, and acting like they into something, liking something, or so forth, not being 100 with himself or herself about a particular person or act or situation. Once it is hit upon, then you'll begin to see as the saying goes who the true friends are. You'll begin to say, oh, that's how you truly feel. So time tells the story, brothers and sisters. What does not come out in the rinse comes out in the wash. So these are things, brothers and sisters, that we care, or as the saying, is it saying, is that or not they wrong? What comes out in the, what doesn't come out in the wash comes out in the rinse, or did I say the opposite? Let me know. But the point, nonetheless, let me know why which way is supposed to be said if I said it incorrectly. Open to constructive criticism. The point, nonetheless, family, is you can't fake in life. You can't fake love in life. You can't act like you're about something when you're not. Because when it gets down to when it's needed, then what you're going to do. What are you going to do when it comes down and you've been fronting and acting like you're about something for X amount of time, and now it's time in say a particular matter? What happens then? You've been playing yourself to your time and other people's time. So what you do with that, as it says in the Apocrypha, Separate from thine enemies and take heed to thy friends. So you have to separate from that kind of matter. In that particular case, may not always be the easiest thing to do, may not even be the happiest thing to do, but it is very necessary for reasonable purposes. Let's read this again and get into the presentation. Thank you. For alms doth deliver from death, and shall purge away all sin. Those that exercise alms and righteousness shall be filled with life. Let us continue. Thank you, family. Leviticus chapter 3, Hebrew and English. We're going to read the right side first. Bokol mospatekem kukwat olam the dorotekem lodokelu dam eleb wakal. And let us continue and get into Leviticus chapter 3. And let's read in the Hebrew family. In this particular case. All right. If I can be heard well, thank you for that. And people in good spirits, asking you to press the number 4, if we will. We are, brothers and sisters, going to read in Leviticus chapter 3 in the Hebrew, and this has 17 verses. So when we spoke earlier, brothers and sisters, about this having a considerable amount of Hebrew in this particular presentation, yes, we're going to read the Hebrew first and then the English. All right? So screenshots are welcome. Please keep me posted, family, regarding the audio. Thank you for that. As we go through each verse of the 17 verses, I'm going to, in English, state the number of the verse before we read it. Where in the Bakshanami, Kwarba, no, in mean habakor hu, makrib, im zakar im nekweba, tamim yakrebenu lifne yorewahe. Verse 2. Wasamak yado al rosh, Kwarbano. Wishakto, Petak Ohel Moed, Wazarku, Bene Aharon HaKohanim, Et Adam al HaMizbeach Sabi, verse 3. Where he klib Mizebach Hashlamim, Ishe Layore Wahe, Et HaKeleb, Hamkase Et HaKwereb, where Et Kal HaKeleb, Asher al HaKwereb, verse 4. Where Et Shete HaKlayot, Wa'et hakeleb asher alehen asher al hak salim wa'et hayotzeret al hakabed al hak layot yisirena. Verse 5. Wehik tiru oto b'nei Aharon hamizbecha al haola asher al ha'ezin asher al ha'esh Ishereach Nekoach the Yorewahe. Verse 6. We'im min hazon kwarbano lezebak shalami la Yorewahe zebak o nekweba tamim yakrebenu. Verse 7. Im keseb hu makrib et kwarbano wehikrib oto lifne yodhe wawhe. Wasamak et verse 8. Wasamak et yado al rosh Kwarbano, Wishakat Oto, Lifne Ohel Moed, Wazaraku, Bene Aaron et Demo al Hamizbeach Sabib. Verse 9. Wehikrib Mizebak Hashlamim, Ishe Layorewahe, Kelbo, Wa'alya, Tamima, the Umat, Ha'eza, He'aza, Salika, Yisi Rena, Wa'et Hakeleb, Ham, Kase et hakwereb wa et kal hakeleb asher al hakwereb. Verse 10. Wa et shete haklayot wa et hakeleb asher alehen asher al hak salim wa et hayotzeret al hakabed al hak layot yiserena. Verse 11. Wahik tiru HaKohen, HaMizbecha, Lahem, Ishe, Layorewahe. verse 12. We'im eis quadabano wehikri bo lifne yode wahe. Verse 13. Wasamak al yado al rosho. Washakat oto lifne ohel moed wazarku bene Aharon et damo al hamiz be'ak sabi. Verse 14. Wehiktir mimenu quarbano ishe la yode wahe et hakele ham kase et hakwereb we et kal hakelev asher al hakwereb. Verse 15. We et shete hak layot we et hakelev asher alehen asher al hak salim we et hayotzeret al hakabe al hak layot yiserena. Verse 16. Wehik tiram hakohen hamizbeka la lechem ishe la reak nikoa kol keleb la yode wahe kukwat olam the dodo tekem bakomos potekem kal keleb wakal dam lo tokelu. Brothers and sisters, that is Leviticus chapter 3, verses 1 to 17 in Hebrew. Now let us read the English, brothers and sisters. And if his offering be a sacrifice of peace offerings, if he offer of the herd, whether male or female, he shall offer it without blemish before the Most High. Now let's pick up some words, brothers and sisters, asking you all to subscribe to the channel. Zakar in Hebrew means male, and the Queba means female, brothers and sisters. Verse 2. And he shall lay his hand on the head of his offering and kill it at the door of the tent of meeting. And Aaron's sons, the priest, shall dash the blood round about against the altar round about. Verse 3. And he shall present for the sacrifice of peace offerings an offering made by fire unto Yah, the fat that covereth the inwards, and all the fat that is upon the inwards. Verse 4. And the 2 kidneys, and the fat that is on them, which is by the loins, and the lobe above the liver, which he shall take hard by the kidneys. Verse 5. And Aaron's son shall make it smoke on the altar upon the burnt offering, which is upon the wood that is on the fire. It is an offering made by fire, a sweet savior unto the Yah. And if his offering be a sacrifice of peace offerings unto Yah, be of the flock, male or female, he shall offer it without blemish. Brothers and sisters, we hope, we pray everybody is well and will be better. There is something we care to say about verse 6. When it says without blemish, the Hebrew we see is the word tamid, meaning perfect. And this is no disrespect to brothers or sisters, but more so in respect of what the scriptures is teaching us. Jesus Christ, according to Galatians, became a curse in Galatians chapter 3. So there's no way in being a curse that he was any kind of offering, a burnt offering, a peace offering, an atonement for sin. This is something we care to bring out because the offerings that were done were to be done, brothers and sisters, of things that were not blemished. Again, no disrespect to brothers and sisters who happen to be into the New Testament, subscribe or not to the platform, will listen to this or not to the platform. Once we read without blemish, and then we see the teachings concerning who is referred to as Jesus Christ, whether they say as some Israelites Yahushai, whether some Israelites say Yahshua, whether some Israelites say Yahushua, or as we say, not to try to sound insulting to anybody on this platform, Mary's son, because there are Israelites, not to get sidetracked, that actually debate whether Joseph was his father or not. I've seen Israelites debate that. So not trying to be nitpicky or disrespectful, on this platform, we say Mary's son. in this manner if we're speaking upon whom is referred to by many as Jesus Christ. There is a video, and I would like to, if I can take the liberty to ask my brother, maybe I should have done it offline, but I'm going to do it now. If he's online, it's all good, my older brother in spirit. He did a video recently regarding the whole, whether you pick Torah or the New Testament. And it's a very good video. Certain points that the man made, I'm going to say now, brothers and sisters, is this. Israel, I'm paraphrasing, already had their culture. So you have to sit back and pick which say you want in that particular manner, if you will. So if my brother can text me, or even here, if you're listening now, brother, to the presentation, it's all good, my brother, that you did recently and shared with me about the whole matter of choosing Torah or choosing the New Testament. If I can share that, let me know with your permission. All right? So let's continue in this. We are in Leviticus chapter 3, verse 7. And it says, and if he bring a lamb for his offering, then shall he present it before Yah. And he shall lay his hand on the head of his offering and kill it before the tent of meeting. And Aaron's son shall dash the blood thereof against the altar round about. And he shall present of the sacrifice of peace offerings, an offering made by fire unto Yah, the fat thereof, and the fat tail entire, which he shall take away hard by the rump bone, and the fat that covereth the inwards, and all the fat that is upon the inwards, and the 2 kidneys, and the fat that is upon them, in verse 10, which is by the loins, and the lobe above the liver, which he shall take away by the kidneys. Verse 11, and the priest shall make it smoke on the altar. It is the food of the offering made by fire unto Yah. Verse 12, and if his offering be a goat, then he shall present it before Yah, and he shall lay his hand upon the head of it and kill it before the tent of meeting, and the sons of Aaron shall dash the blood thereof against the altar round about, and he shall present thereof his offering, even an offering made by fire unto Yah, the fat that covereth the inwards, and all the fat that is upon the inwards, and the 2 kidneys, and the fat that is upon them, which is by the loins, and the lobe above the liver, and he shall take away by the kidneys, which he shall take away by the kidneys. Verse 16, and the priest shall make them smoke upon the altar. It is the food of the offering made by fire for a sweet savior, or the fat is the most high. It shall be a perpetual statute throughout your generations in all your dwellings. It shall be a perpetual statute throughout your generations in all your dwellings, that ye shall eat neither fat nor blood. Brothers and sisters, my older brother in spirit, it's all good, gave me permission. So when you look at this video later, there will be a video, brothers and sisters, attached to this in the comments regarding the video that he has done. All right? So, and say that particular case, if we will. Now, brothers and sisters, upon this, thank you for that. Right? That is in the portion in that manner. We are going to, brothers and sisters, go to YouTube. All right. And if we go, brothers and sisters, to sign out there, thank you for that, and sign into my other platform, More Yeshaya, Old Testament, which is, brothers and sisters, right here. In this particular matter, we have it to where we see, all right? Okay, no, the password is not being shown publicly, okay. Now, this is the other platform, Mordeh Yeshaya Old Testament. All right. And what do we see in this particular case? All right. If we go, say, to the history in this manner, right? Here is the video I was speaking upon. All right. We're going to take it here in this copy, put it into the StreamYard studio with the man's permission. All right, in that particular case. And it's going to be like in the descriptions or so for those who are interested. Subscribe to that man's platform, family. All right. And so let us, brothers and sisters, in this continue. There is something, in no disrespect, family, that we care to sit there and bring out. And that's this. And no disrespect to brothers and sisters in certain understandings. If we are not to eat fat nor blood, do we as humans have fat within us as animals do? And if so, we're not supposed to eat that. And we're not supposed to eat blood. How do we, in one way, shape, form, fashion, or another, brothers and sisters, see in what is referred to as the New Testament, eat my body and drink my blood? Now, many may say, oh, it's spiritual, it's symbolic. And I'm not trying to say what one should have said, but of all the things to say, why would one who is said by some to be the walking law of Yah, said by some to be the walking Torah, why would you be the same one to sit there, stand there, and proclaim about drink my blood? In the time of Saul, may King Saul rest in peace, brothers and sisters, the people was noted by Saul in transgression because they had ate blood. It is against the culture of Israel and has never been a part of the Israelite culture to eat blood, to drink blood. You are to let it, as it says in Deuteronomy, correct me if I'm wrong, where it's stated, to let the blood fall on the earth as water. Could that be? Not that it has to be. The Israelite way of returning things to the earth, because according to some, we just take from the earth and never give back. So is pouring the blood of an animal we're going to eat on the ground, is that a way of giving back to the earth? Because what we don't do as Israel, which is promoted sadly in Christianity, is a human sacrifice giving back. Jesus Christ is said to be, in Christianity, the Son of God, the child of God, and that he had to be a sacrifice for us humans who were sinners. So some have stated that Jesus Christ is God in the flesh and died. I want us to hear what was just stated. And I was going to say it in Hebrew, but we're not even going to go there. One is saying in certain cases that Jesus Christ is God in the flesh and was killed by the sanction of the Hebrews and by the hand of the Romans. Are we serious? Let us contemplate on that concept, not trying to say what you must think. If I can be heard well and people are in good spirits, please press the number 4. Are we to follow a concept that says the God of Israel, who in the Old Testament told Cain, sin crouched at the door. Thank you for that, my brother Bergen. Thank you for that, my brother in spirit is so good. Sin crouched at the door. To you is his desire, but you shall rule over it. And for those who've been following the platform, I ever so often talk about how I was a thief. I remember, not to be disrespectful, the first time I stole something. Hayiti Ganab, I was a thief. Ganab T. I remember the first time, like I said, when I stole something, as we talk about peace offerings and so on. I was in Bergen, not to sit there and get too personal. I was in Vanderveer. You know, they call it Flatbush Gardens, off Nostrand by the 2 train. That's where I was at the first time I stole something. If you know where I'm talking about, my brother, if you're hearing me now. I was in Vanderveer, East Flatbush, when I did my first act of stealing, which is not good, nothing to be proud of, wherever you are. Are you able to hear me, Bergen, what I just said, where I did that at? Not trying to ever condone it as good. I was a top, which in Hebrew means somebody that's like 5 and younger. Do you know how that looks, seeing a $10 bill inside the drawer that my mother had? I opened up the drawer, had no business in the first place, saw $10, not even 6 years old, closed the drawer quickly. What made me close the drawer? Because you knew what you were doing in the first place was wrong. And I looked in a hall that led from where the room was into where you had to turn to the left to get into where the family room, the living room was, and so on. And when I heard no feet, and when I saw that nobody was coming, there was no shadow or anything like that seen, no feet heard, I opened the drawer back up to the 10 and closed the drawer. I got what's called a maka, which means a spanking when it came out. Eventually, my mother, looking for her money, may she rest in peace, called me, went in my pocket, and found it. I remember the word said more so than a spanking. And it was like, this is not the way to go about things. You work for things, you act for things. You ask to work for things. When you fill out an application, you're asking that job for a way to righteously get something. What you did and how you did it is not the way to do it. I remember that more than spank on the behind. You understand? And like I said, I'm like, I want to say either 4 or 5, but I do remember I didn't know how to read STEAL and STEEL. So if they said thou should not steal and had the matter of STEEL, I wouldn't know that was spoken correctly, but I knew in my heart what it was. Torah teaches us the law is not hard, it's already in your heart. So I knew in not doing the law to try to quote unquote cover my steps. That is what the book of the Tanakh, the Hebrew scriptures, talks about when it says not to condemn self. It says in what? A heart that divides wicked imaginations. Closing the drawer, making sure you see no shadow and hearing no feet. And I wasn't even but 4 or 5 years old. Already hearing Torah, been in an understanding, being brought out to the congregation since I was 2 years old. Brother Bergen, we used to take the 2 train at Nostrand Avenue, what they now call Little Haiti train station, all the way to East Tremont to the congregation in the Bronx that's called Kosheri. So certainly by the time of 5, being taught 2.5, 3 years, you already knew stealing was wrong. And that's why you went about it that way. And like mommy said, may she rest in peace in so many words, stealing and lying are cousins. Oh no, I didn't do it. A thief is a punk, is a coward. Because if I may speak upon, having already met the brother in respect, the brother Bergen, who is the moderator, thank you for helping us with the platform. Right? You're not going to say I was 5 in 1985. You are not going to the guys, it is not to shame the black man. It is not to shame the black man. You are not going to the guys on Nostrand and Dean, Nostrand and Forster, Nostrand by Sterling, who had in 1986 the 3/4 finger ring, the leather jacket, and the herringbone chain. Whether he had a Kango on or not, for those familiar with New Jack City, you knew how those guys got their money. And again, this is not to shame the black man. But when you're getting funds in this society without any social number, any paperwork, you can't take the money that you got, not to shame the hood, and I was raised in Brooklyn in part, and put that down as the address to a bank or for a car. So you have to pay in straight cash in certain cases because of how you got it. You understand? If the matter with Bernie Madoff does not teach that there is a creator of heaven and earth that sees things, Bernie Madoff is said, and I don't mean to be mean, may he not rest in peace. Not because he was a white man, it's because of what he did even to his white brothers. If nothing else, this is the person who, when Obama was in office and they had this stock market situation and the housing market went tumbling down in many cases. And people who invested with Bernie Madoff, they wanted their money back. But he has not been trading things, and he's been running a Ponzi scheme, stealing from the people. He dead now. And the legacy that he left is bad. One of his sons committed suicide. His other son passed away from another means. And his wife was acting like, I don't even know what a Ponzi scheme is. I can't say whether Ruth Madoff knew it or not. That's not my place. But Bernie knew what he was doing. Now, if the market did not go through what it went through in 2008 or any other time, would Bernie have ever confessed? Would he have ever been known for the wickedness that he was doing? There is an Elohim that judges the sons of Shem, Ham, and Japheth. So Bernie Madoff was Jewish, Ashkenazi, Khazar, or so. He judges them as well and exposes all. And that is embarrassing, bringing it personal. When you see your friends exposed in the store on Nostrand Avenue, holding up something that they stole, or when people are clapping when Bernie Madoff got over 100 years, knowing that will be perpetually or permanently, his life because of the wickedness that you did. So how did myself, if I may say, to give advice, not that I'm a psychiatrist or so, how did I get over stealing? It wasn't mommy spanking me. I'm going to be candid. Because remember, a thief is a punk. So he's not going to do the robbery of the person who perhaps will blow his brains out in the street. Like they said in Goodfellas, not trying to be comical. Everybody takes a beating sometime. I'm good. I could go back outside to play 2 days later, right? I could still go by Nostrand and Foster and go and play basketball. I could still go out by Webster Avenue in the Bronx and still go and play. All right, thank you. I'll take this behind spanking. I'm good. I already got what I want with what I stole. That was the mindset of a coward when I was stealing. I no longer, as a grown and repentant man, steal anymore. It feels good when I go around congregations in Israel and people are not able to say, not that people were looking, brother, I gave you the money for the book and I didn't get it. Danitepublications don't run like they who ran with Sarnetta and Polite. Not saying Sarnetta was the thief, but he did edit stuff to try to make the videos look a little different. So his side will quote looking like they were winning, which is embellishment. But brothers and sisters, that guy No Light or Polite was a straight thief. He would act like he is mailing you the book that you paid for. And then when you don't get it because he never mailed it, well, you see me mailing it. You don't do stuff like that, brothers and sisters. Now, whether Polite is a Hamite, as some say, I understand and know myself as an Israelite from the line of Shem, and Bernie Madoff was a person from the sea line of Japheth. You ain't supposed to be doing that to anybody, brothers, sisters, or so. That is wickedness. So when the Most High says, sin crouches at the door, and to you is his desire, but you can rule over it. How did a person get out of that demon of stealing? Like my little princess says, fight your demons. Hilakim Sedekim. My little princess talks like that. Hilakim Sedekim. She says that. Fight Hilakim. Saved in Hebrew means demon. You see that in the book of Deuteronomy. Sedekim, your demon. Whatever wickedness or whatever Isaiah is talking about that applies to you, when it says, that is a wickedness, get rid of it. Ask the Most High. You got some people, and you'll be surprised what their demons are, if you will. You got men who like only married women. Did you know that? Ain't no ties to it. If a man was there, I wouldn't be there. He has to fight that demon off of him. I'm so weak. My man doesn't love me. I don't know what to do. This person showed me love. She needs to fight that demon off of her. Every time I see somebody, I just feel like smacking them. You got to fight that demon off of you. So now, as we continue in this, what caused the brother that people subscribe to? What caused the brother that people do buy his books? What caused the brother that people giving me advice to myself? What caused me to stop stealing was one, seeing my friends holding up things in the store. That's very embarrassing. And when I began to lose friends. We've been citing the Apocrypha. Separate from your enemies and take heed to your friends. Once you understood your friends were separating from you because you became an enemy by stealing from them, that's not good. That's what made me stop. I didn't want to keep on losing friends. It wasn't mommy beating butt, because it wasn't only stealing that she got at me. So it's like, you understand? Knowing the kind of upbringings that most of us black males came up under, not to be racial, you understand? But there are situations, family, whatever one's iniquity is, fight it. I know of an Israelite who said the hardest thing when that person came into the understanding of Israel to give up and adopting the way of life and the culture, claiming the legacy of, was eating shellfish. Came into understanding of Israel and still had to fight, for the lack of a better term, the demon of eating unclean food. So you never know, brothers and sisters, what people might struggle with. And it's not to sit there and condemn. It's not to sit there and put down. It's not to sit there and try to big yourself up over your brethren. The king in Israel, in Deuteronomy 17, he is told to write a copy of the law, brothers and sisters, so his heart will not be elevated over his brother. Let's read that. Let's read that. That's in Deuteronomy 17. All right, let's go there if we will. All right, thank you for that, family. All right. If we will, sorry about that. Thank you for that. Deuteronomy. All right. Looking at this here. We're going to go to chapter 17 and read what that says in that particular case. Right? It says this, and it did come up on the screen. We are in Deuteronomy 17, verse 14. We're just going to read the English. When thou art come unto the land which the Lord Yah thy God giveth thee, and shall possess it, and shall dwell therein, and shall say, I will set a king over me like the nations that are round about me. Thou shalt in any wise set him king over thee, whom the Lord thy God shall choose. One from among thy brethren shalt thou set king over thee. Thou mayest not put a foreigner over thee who is not thy brother. So the Torah has nationalism concepts. Only he shall not multiply horses to himself, nor cause the people to return to Egypt, to the end that he should multiply horses. For as much as Yah said unto thee, you shall henceforth return no more that way. Neither shall he multiply wives to himself, that his heart turn not away, neither shall he greatly multiply to himself silver and gold. I want to say something about verse 17. Some people have actually said that King David was in the wrong for having more than one wife, because you're not supposed to multiply wives. David, to my knowledge, had 3 wives. If there was more, let me know. But brothers and sisters, I know that David did not multiply wives. Adding wives and multiplying wives are 2 different things. Addition and multiplication are 2 different things. All right? So let's go on. And it shall be, when he sitteth upon the throne of his kingdom, that he shall write him a copy of this law in a book. Out of that which is before the priests, the Levites, there's order and structure. What Christianity teaches us is the Levitical priesthood, the Levites, the priests that we just read about in Deuteronomy chapter 17, verse 18, doesn't matter. They have a new sacrifice with a new concept and so forth. So the Levitical priesthood and the kingdom of the line of Israel that came up out of the line of David doesn't hold weight in Christianity. So one of the things that Rome tried to do historically, we're going to talk about later on, Elohim willing, we want to do another presentation about history and the Israelites and the nations. One of the things tonight, one of the things that the Israelites suffered under the Romans is the fact that they really wanted to get rid of the seed of David. So being that they couldn't, they created a concept when Israel didn't have as much power in the world called Christianity, where the seed line of David is like, that doesn't matter. The Levitical priesthood, that doesn't matter. So essentially the church replaced Israel in culture. You understand? Deuteronomy 17, verse 19. And it shall be with him, and he shall read therein all the days of his life, that he may learn to fear Yah his God, to keep all the words of this law and these statutes to do them, that his heart be not lifted up above his brethren, and that he turn not aside from the commandment to the right hand or to the left, to the end that he may prolong his days in his kingdom, he and his children in the midst of Yisrael. So what do we just see and read right there, family? It says that, let me look back at it from here, right? Deuteronomy 17, we want to point something else out. That his heart be not lifted up above his brethren, not his servants, not his slaves, not his captives, not his workers, his brethren. And then the Hebrew says the same word, ak. And that he turn not aside from the commandment. Let's see, brothers and sisters, your heart be not lifted up above his brethren, and that he turn not aside from the commandment to the right or the left. What commandment are we talking about? The commandments of the Most High. How you treat your brethren from your heart is part of the commandments of the Most High. When they start talking, there is none of that in the Old Testament. What? That is in what you call the Old Testament. There are people who say the said Old Testament doesn't talk about the Spirit. The word Spirit is in the first 3 verses of Genesis. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. The earth was unformed and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. And the Spirit of God hovered over the face of the waters. And within the first 3 verses, Spirit of the Most High is mentioned. It talks about matters of the heart in Deuteronomy chapter 30. But see, what to say New Testament does that to say Old Testament does not. It's not telling you to write anything on your doorpost or let it be a sign between your eyes, or let it be as a frontlet, between your eyes and a sign on your hand. It's not telling you to keep the Sabbath. It's not telling you about, say, diet in that particular case. And when you go in the New Testament, in Acts chapter 15, specifically, there was a discussion about whether or not the people are to be keeping the law of circumcision. That should never be a discussion. There should not be a discussion on whether or not ancient Israel or Israel today should eat blood. We just read in Leviticus 3, you shall not eat fat nor blood. So there's nothing to hold a meeting about when the Most High already gave his decree. What's there to talk about? Outside of how to clean the blood out, outside of how to get rid of the fat, that's about it. That's really it. Not whether or not you should do it or not, like in the New Testament with circumcisions, and then try to, no disrespect, say about the circumcision of the heart. You know, let me say this in no disrespect. It took a lot, and it took some work for some people to not sin and to fight their demons, brothers and sisters. That's working on your heart and your character. That is a lot more work than having your physical foreskin taken off. Physical circumcision, which is mentioned in the book of Genesis 17, Leviticus chapter 12, and other portions, is a lot easier than even when we read in the scriptures, he who conquers his spirit is greater than he who conquers a city. So, brothers and sisters, let us not misrepresent the say Old Testament, if you will. When you hear people speak upon the scriptures, and they're waiting to hear you say something about Paul said this or Paul said that. They already have their mind made up, perhaps, and it can be changed, but it's going to take them wanting to seek the Most High. And the Most High gets the glory in this particular and in all matters. It's not a thing, I brought that person into Israel, I brought that person into law. No, brothers and sisters. And I want to say, no disrespect to the brothers and sisters in the understanding of Israel who subscribe and teach from and rely upon the said New Testament. Have you ever noticed you still got to go back to Deuteronomy? Have you ever noticed that? Can you stay from Matthew 1:1 to Revelation 22 only and do a teaching like the brothers from 1 West, 125th Street in Harlem from the 80s or so before that? Because the original school was called the Tanakh School. And when they started in 1969, they did not teach the New Testament. It was called the Tanakh School, wearing white and teaching only out of the said Old Testament. It was again called the Tanakh School. The Tanakh does not have the New Testament. And when you call it the Deuteronomy breakdown, brothers and sisters, in Deuteronomy chapter 28, can you take, not trying to be funny or disrespectful, anywhere out of the said Old Testament, out of the said New Testament, and do say the same? Or do you cite on your flyers, understandably so, slave ships in Deuteronomy 28:68, saying it all relates? Do you sit there and show a person, man and woman, with a yoke of iron on their neck, and then cite Deuteronomy 28, a yoke of iron on your neck, hungry, thirsty, and naked, and in want of all things? as Deuteronomy 28 says. What else, brothers and sisters, does Deuteronomy 28 say? And I'm asking the family, if I can be heard well and people in good spirits, please type in the number 4. Let's see something that Deuteronomy 28 distinctly says. It says in verse 43. Let's read in Deuteronomy 28:43. The stranger that is in the midst of thee shall mount above thee higher and higher, and thou shalt come down lower and lower. He shall lend to thee, and thou shalt not lend to him. He shall be the head, and thou shalt be the tail. And all these curses shall come upon thee, and shall pursue thee and overtake thee till thou be destroyed, because thou didst not hearken unto the voice of Yah thy God, to keep his commandments and his statutes, which he commanded thee. And they shall be upon thee for a sign and for a wonder, and upon thy seed forever, because thou didst not serve Yah thy God with joyfulness and gladness of heart, by reason for the abundance of all things. Therefore shalt thou serve thine enemy, whom Yah will send against thee, in hunger, and in thirst, and in nakedness, and in want of all things. And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he has destroyed thee. Yah will bring a nation against thee from far, from the end of the earth, as the eagle, Volta is a mistranslation, okay, as the eagle swoopeth down, a nation whose tongue you shall not understand, a nation of fierce countenance, that shall not regard the person of the old, nor show favor to the young. Now, reading all of that, let's go to Deuteronomy 28, verse 58. Deuteronomy 28:58 says this: if thou, Israel, will not observe to do all the words of this law that are written in this book, when do you get a New Testament? This distinctly says, if thou, speaking about the house of Israel, will not observe to do all the words of this law that are written in this book, that thou mightest fear, as in the word, brothers and sisters, yareh, which means to respect, this glorious and awful name, Yod-Heh-Wah-Heh, your power. If it says the words of this law in this book, when do we read of Israel needing another book? Would Joshua have been offended if his book did not exist? Would Esther have been offended if her book did not exist? But now in the time of Josiah, when they found the Torah, they were joyful. And then when they read it, it was like, we got to change some ways. Not change scriptures, change ways. Stop stealing, for instance. Stop wanting the next man's wife, for instance. Stop hating your brother in your heart, for instance. So what are we seeing in this? In verse 58, if thou wilt not observe to do all the words of this law, not a law to come later, of this law that are written in this book, not volume 2, I'm coming out with another book, that thou mayest fear this glorious and awful name. Do we understand the distinction of the Torah even compared to the Tanakh? Even though the word Tanakh had the T, which stands for Torah. The Tanakh that we have, brothers and sisters, has 39 books. 34 of them are not part of the Torah. If, heaven forbid, we did not even have those 34 books, we are still obligated to keep the Torah. So it's scary if the Torah is the book that says, love thy neighbor as thyself and hate not your brother in your heart. And there are Israelites saying, other Israelites, they're Torah only. If the Torah is telling you to love your neighbor, then what other book should you be dealing with? You go into other books and hold it par as in part to the Torah. And now you have a worry about how long your booth, or how big, your booth should be for Sukkot when you start dealing with other doctrines of Judaism. You start wondering, brothers and sisters, about meat dishes and dairy dishes, which is not part of the Torah, when you start studying and applying what is inside Judaism into the Torah itself. You start wondering, brothers and sisters, in a toxic, sinister, unprofitable marriage, if he sees an uncleanness in her, let him write her a bill of divorcement. But in the New Testament, you can't do that. And whosoever married for who divorced commits of adultery, when you read in the concepts in Matthew. So now when you start taking these other books and pouring it to the Torah, now you got issues when life matters come up. The concept in Christianity is so much that your parents haven't had you have to prove themselves worthy to even be honored. Whoever does the will of my Father is my brother, my sister, and my mother. John chapter 2 and Matthew chapter 12. Jesus, your mother is outside. Who is my mother? Woman, what have I to do with you, seeing my hour is not yet come? We read in the Apocrypha, honor thy father and thy mother in word and deed. See, when we start talking about peace offerings, and everybody knows not to be racial in the Black community, talking about somebody's parents, that's not the way to go. And if you are in a relationship with a man as a woman, and if you are in a relationship being a man with a woman, and one of the partners start to talk about the other's children, that is the beginning of the end of that relationship. Keep our children and parents out of our business. A man leaves his father and mother, in the Old Testament as it's called, cleave to his wife and be one flesh. Relationships that don't have that, and that man and woman get into something, mommy, then what? And not to be disrespectful, my mother's passed. So now if you want to do that in Israel, you really going off. I'm going to sit there and turn the lights off and have a picture of mom, and we're going to do something and bring mommy's spirit. No, what you should have done was respect and honor them when it was here. We don't do nechwawe hametim or necromancy. We don't conjure up and call upon the dead. We don't sit there and look to that, brothers and sisters. We become elders and then we teach the youth. And in doing so, do not waste anybody's time. I remember, not to shame anybody, I told a person that not too long ago. If your child is an artist, has been drawing, painting, or sculpting, and I am not built for that, I am not going to sit there and be the stumbling block, the mixed show, which means that you got hatred in your heart because you're like the person who will go in front of somebody who's driving and slow down. If you're not built for something to be in assistance, then move out of the way so that person, child or otherwise, can get the proper help. Don't sit there and do, not to get too personal, what somebody did to me. Listen, I may need this resume, to be updated. Can you help me? Oh yeah, I know how to do that. 1 week, 2 weeks. You were so egotistical and arrogant, and you didn't think I was serious about needing it done. You wasted 2 weeks of me asking you every other day, is it done? Let me know. Keep me posted. Keep me posted. Thank you. Keep me posted. You could have avoided me asking you what's going on and to say, keep me posted, if you would have just been 100 about it and say, that is not your portion. That is not what you do. There is a sister, I'm not going to name her name, and this is not to be sexist. If I can be heard well and people in good spirits, I know I asked, please press the number 4. Thank you for that, family. It means so much when you do it, because I'll try to go, for the lack of a better term, beast regarding making sure the audio is as best as possible. Thank you, family. Thank you. It's so good for that. There's a sister who made me a flyer. I was like, oh, well, thank you. And I said, okay. And she shut it down quick. Like, Shia, I don't do flyers like that. That's a one-time thing. That tells me don't ask her no more. I know where I stand with that sister with flyers. It wasn't like, yeah, I got you. Just let me know. And then I'm like, where's the flyer? Or where's the flyer? Or where's the flyer? I know if I need a flyer, I cannot ask that sister. She let her truth be known. She didn't fake. She didn't hate her brother in her heart. He ain't going to get known for nobody else and not for me. Danitepublications, what? That is respect. I got to respect the fact that you kept it 100 and let me know you're not making me flyers. I can't offer you Zelle or Cash App because you're not doing it in the first place. So it allows me, in like I did in a video called Moving Like Fire and Water, to have to sit there and sort out, without learning it myself, I ain't got the patience for that yet, to go into another avenue to get the same thing done. But if you are presenting yourself as if you are the person for something, and you know you're not, you are, in Hebrew, ashpa, garbage. You wasting people's time. You are a threat to the community, a problem to the people. You are the person who goes, as stated, in front of other cars and slow down. Don't do that. Don't waste your time. Don't waste anybody else's time. There was, and it's not to be self-centered, an organization that was being ran some years ago between brothers. These brothers happen to be what you call non-messianic and messianic. And it was called Hebrew War Machine. Hebrew War Machine. And it's not to be arrogant. They act a kashub, for those who do know that was part of my name. Hey, Yeshaya, you want to join with us? And I told those brothers, I said, I cannot be a part of your organization because what you all are requiring from us, I cannot do. I don't have that much time on my hands to be on the spear of a call. Video, lesson, we got to meet up, got to do this class, got to meet up, got to get these notes together. There's a debate with the Kemetic people. Let's do that. I don't have the time that you were asking for. So I let it be known, not that it's about me. I can't be in that. I'm not going to sit there and waste your time like I had to tell people, not to get too personal. I don't draw. I do not paint. I do not know how to sculpt things. So if that is what you are into, I'm not the person to ask for that. I may know somebody, and I do know people who do that. So I'm going to direct you in the correct way. That is true love. Because when it comes up that you are fake and a phony, you can't say, I'm not a liar. I'm not a liar. You're living a lie. Your life is a lie. You're a liar. Mishakwir for the male and Mishakula for the female. You're full of mirma, which is falsehood. Yeah, that's you. So whatever demon one is fighting, as pointed out, get rid of it. Now, brothers and sisters, let us get back, if we will. Thank you for all of the matters of typing in the number 4. It does mean a lot. All right? Let's look at this here. We read Leviticus chapter 3 in Hebrew and in English. And I wanted to point out the word zakar for male and the word nequeba for female. Now let us look, brothers and sisters, at this. And what do we see in this here? Right? Zebak Shalamim means sacrifice of peace offerings. That's what that means there in that particular case. All right? And I know for space I'm doing this. We have here the word Yak Rebenu. All right? if we're looking at this here. Yakrebenu, brothers and sisters, in Hebrew means he will sacrifice it. That's what that word means there. He will sacrifice it. Not for, before wasn't supposed to be there. All right. And we have here, brothers and sisters, this word, makrib. All right. Now, what does the word makrib mean? All right. We here to point out, all right, family, the word, oh, sorry about that. All right, the word makrib, brothers and sisters, we're going to post here and translate in real time. That didn't work in that case. So we are going to do that again. Right? Copy. Makrib means literally sacrifices or sacrificing. All right? That's the present tense, meaning about one doing a sacrifice. All right? So let's look. Thank you for that, family. Thank you, my brother Bergen, for typing that in. Definitely appreciate it. Thank you, my older brother in spirit. It's all good for typing that in. It's all good. Thank you for that. Quatabano, we're going to keep on this side, means his offering. Now, there's going to be a video created willing if it's uploaded. I hope it does. If not, then I'll try to upload it again. But it's already completed and it was done earlier. Quarab, brothers and sisters, that we see here. All right? We color that yellow. The word quarab means to approach as a verb. Right? So now, brothers and sisters, Quadaban means offering. Quadabano, as we pointed out there, means his offering. So if Quadab means to approach, and Quadaban, by just adding the noon, so feet there, means offering, that means in Hebrew thought, when you approach, you bring something as an offering, not just free willy-nilly, hey, I'm here. That kind of spirit, no. That's not the Hebraic thought. That, no offense intended, is for the male, the Pookie and Ray Ray. We are not, as the sons of Israel, to be Pookie and Ray Ray. Pookie and Ray Ray are irresponsible. They don't think for the future. It doesn't mean that they're prophets because you think for the future, but you have the mindset like that of Job, just in case. Let me leave something like Joseph did, save a fifth for later. Intelligence. Pookie and Ray Ray do not deal in intelligence. The women who have children from Pookie and Ray Ray ignore the red flags. My baby mama. Once a man starts talking that, sister, try to see if he's willing to change, because baby mama is disrespectful. That's Pookie Ray Ray talk. That's not the talk of the sons of Israel in their righteous stand, knowing, for instance, Quarab means to approach. By adding a noon, Quadaban means what? That you are approaching with something you're offering. Not just you. I'm here. That's not the spirit to have, brothers and sisters. All right? Even Saul knew that. We read about getting a king. When he was to approach Samuel, he asked, what shall we bring? Here we have the word tamim, which means perfect in Hebrew. Here we see, brothers and sisters, Rosh Quarbano, the head of his sacrifice. Here we see the word sabib, which means all around or roundabout, which means the circumference, if you will. Here we see, brothers and sisters, right? Hamkase et hakwereb, all right? The covering of the inwards. That which covers the inwards. That which covers the inwards. That's what that means there. All right. And here we have the word ha-kabed, which means the liver. So we're learning body parts as well, if we will, right? The liver, which we know in your body, liver is very important. And we have here chesed, which means lamb. And then we have here, brothers and sisters, the word aiz, brothers and sisters, which means goat. I am not going to transliterate that by writing AYZKESEB. I stated it, and it's not to sound nasty or arrogant. Watch the video, review it, rewind it, and write the English that you heard from the Hebrew to the best of your ability. That can be an assignment for those who are interested. Now, I'm going to, in the Hebrew, read it again in this particular matter. All right, thank you for that. We have here, all right, shown with the laser pointer. Thank you for that. We have Zebach Shelamim, Kwarbano, Tami, Rosh Kwarbano, Stabib, Hamkase et HaKweret, HaKabed, Kesed, Aiz, Yakrebenu, Makrib. Just want to point that out in that case. Let's continue, family. The peace offering is divided. We know too, as the thank offering, Todah, the votive offering, which slips my mind how to say in Hebrew, sorry, and a freewill offering. The thanks offering is eaten on the day it is offered. They who eat of the peace offering do eat of such, both males and females who are clean, in other words, ritually clean, all right, according to the laws in Leviticus, do eat of such. The priests too do eat of such. We know that Shelamim, which is translated as peace offering, right? And we know that it's supposed to be, sorry, typo. And we know that it's supposed to be a there. Shalom in Hebrew means to be complete. So Shelamim from Shalom means to be complete. So when you find people saying they want to make a peace offering, know where they're coming from in that manner. Know and understand where one's mind is at in that particular case. Let us go, if we will, family, to Leviticus chapter 7, verse 15. Thank you for that, family. All right? We want to go, if we will, to Leviticus. All right? Chapter 7, Hebrew. And what do we see in this particular case? From verse 15 to verse 17 says this. And the flesh of the sacrifice of his peace offering for thanksgiving shall be eaten on the day of his offering. He shall not leave any of it until the morning. But if the sacrifice of his offering be a vow or free will offering, it shall be eaten on the day that he offereth his sacrifice, and on the morrow that remaineth of it may be eaten. But that which remaineth of the flesh of the sacrifice on the third day shall be burnt with fire. So we're talking about order, structure. When you can eat of something, when you cannot eat of something. So I wanted to point out, brothers and sisters, that what is called the peace offering has a three-part breakdown. One is called of it, the thanksgiving offering. The other is called the votive offering. The other is called the free will offering. So when we spoke about alms earlier and read out of the book of Tobit and the Apocrypha about alms and giving, these are the kind of things we're talking about. Alms could be money, charity, clothing, food. Ezekiel 18 talks about those things, covering the naked, feeding the hungry. These are things and acts, brothers and sisters, that we are supposed to implement. You understand? You're not doing that, having your head stuck up one's own behind. You're not understanding that unless you have a heart. Heartless individuals don't understand those who have heart. Take, not trying to be condemning, the movie Goodfellas. Remember that part that Henry Hill said? Those goody good people who basically were working honestly, those goody good people who took the train and worried about their bills were dead. We wanted some, we simply took it. Somebody complained so hard, believe you me, they got hit so hard they never complained again until Henry had a snitch because he was about to get hit hard. See, sin crouches at the door. To you is his desire, but you shall rule over it. Henry Hill didn't allow it to change. Bernie Madoff didn't allow him to change. You understand? And this is not to play holier than thou or to be there trying to condemn people, brothers and sisters. When we read, and this is not to play prophet, brothers and sisters, and we see something like the movie Paid in Full, for those who did see it. I don't know if my brother Bergen Paris or my older brother in Spirited to a Good saw that movie, Paid in Full. But there's something in that movie that had Wood Harris, Mekhi Phifer in it that stood out to me. In there, the rapper Cameron playing a guy named Alpo, for those who do know, unalived his friend, playing a part named Mitch by Mekhi Phifer in the movie. What stood out to me is prior to the individual Mitch in the movie Paid in Full being unalive, his friend played a guy named Ace, whose government name is Wood Harris. And in that, when he was shot and attacked and assaulted and laid his body down next to the dead until he was picked up. And he spoke upon this since that time in 1987. In so many words, he was saying that when he was being shot, this is online, so I felt kind of comfortable to talk about it. When he was being shot, that he was asked by the Creator, do you want to live? And he said essentially, yes, I want to live. And he said he looked down and seen the guy shooting the body, but his spirit had left him. That's what the guy, the real AZ, said, whom the movies talks about. If that is the case, family, and the Creator saved the life and preserved the life of the guy who was known, not to shame Harlem, but was known in Harlem as AZ, and sin crossed at the door, and to you was his desire, and you seen the hand of the Most High. As AZ stated, he's bracing himself to take a bullet in the head. Not a punch, but a bullet. He's shot in the neck and the head, and he's still alive in 2026. And he left sin crouched at the door to you his desire, but you shall rule over it. That amount of money, all those cars, all those chains, all of that is not worth it. I'm not dealing in that anymore. I'm out the game. The game is over. We're not doing this. We get some people together, we'll make music. Game is over. And as brothers have said online, Mitch ain't shot, Poe ain't shot, they still going hard. But who put who out of that in the matter of being unalive? Poe killed, or unalived as they want us to say online, Mitch. Like he said, my body different. I'm moving different. Posted there by the brother Bergen, Paris. This game, this life, it don't love you back. Like we've been talking about, love thy neighbor as thyself. That game, there is no 401k in that hustle game. There is no taking the day off. You miss the money. There is no fill this discrepancy sheet about pay. That kind of life don't have that. You miss somebody money. No. And even in a movie, it showed that. So y'all dudes is dead on the street out here, B. Until you find where that man is at for robbing you, you dead out here. Y'all gonna be looking for work with some Queens or somewhere like that. And at the time I was living in Queens, I was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. You understand? But I get what the movie was portraying. And what happened? They ran up on the guy, Mitch and his friend, and put those guys to death in the movie. And then later on, sadly, Mitch is put to death. You knew that your friend got shot in the neck and the head. And the Most High, commonly known to people not trying to play holy in the now, as God, kept your friend alive. The neck and the head, and not paralyzed. The neck and the head, and not brain dead. That's the work and the salvation from the Creator. And you still continued in that wickedness as the movie portrayed. Let us not sit and return to the vomit, O house of Israel. And what did, and I'm taking the liberty to say this because it's on the internet. Their sister said, but look at what happened. My little brother lost his life because of Richard's drug life. Shema Israel. Hear, O Israel. Listen to when that sister, the relative in real life, which is online, was talking about what happened from her side of the angle. When she would see Poe in Harlem after that. And how it was. And he couldn't even look at her. And so what does this individual do? Remember, he's out the game. He's on rap videos and so on. He's doing interviews, and I don't respect the individual, but he's doing interviews with Vlad and other people. That's his prerogative. But he's not stealing that stuff that makes your mother, and I think the most time my mother was not on that, but my aunts were. Come on, let's talk, family. Mommy didn't take that big H in that needle stuff, but aunties did. My cousin's mommies did. I got 3 aunts that died OD on heroin. Let's talk, Israel. 3 intelligent, beautiful, said black women, wasted, gone, all in the 90s, for the residue of what happened with, I got to put that, that ooh-wee, as they called it. We're going to keep the language clean. Gone, dead. Somebody else's mother, not mine, even though mommy's gone, but not through that means. So let's talk. We're not playing, brothers and sisters, when we talk about these kind of matters and so on. This is not the holier than thou. I am the Hebrew teacher. No, we're talking, brothers and sisters, about what it is when it comes down to if you keep these laws and if you take the signs, as it says in Deuteronomy 28, it shall be upon you and upon your seed as a sign. So when using that movie as an example, A lived, it still is alive. Rich passed away, or Mitch in the movie passed away by the hands of his said friend, Poe. And what happens? Not taking the warnings, you do something, and quote, maybe citing the movie, when I come back to Harlem, I'm gonna still be the king. So that's where I'm not trying to play prophet. That's where you passed away at. They marked you dead, not trying to be disrespectful, in the hospital that my daughter was born in. You came back there, floss. Yeah, if you stop right here, this way I took Mitch right here. Yeah, this way I did it. Who does that? He did. Yeah, I brought my man, from DC, and we killed him right on that corner. Yeah, my man that killed Mitch with me, we killed him too. And he defecated, so we had to throw him out. And then they found his body because somebody went to go and fix the telephone line in DC. Where is Poe now? Gone. Your time ran up, baby. See, and he's not gone by normalcy. And when everybody found out, not trying to be mean, they were partying in Harlem. Did you know that? Get the beers and the liquor out. We're going to celebrate. The wicked witch in the male form called a wizard is dead. They celebrated that. Showed the car. And people were saying to me, whoever did that was a marksman. You came back and paraded around in your wickedness. Kid, nothing happened to me. That's what Deuteronomy 29 talks about. You're going to stand confident in your wickedness. And you got dropped and such. The Amalekite in the time of King David. Saul is dead. How do you know Saul is dead? Well, he was suffering, so he said, take me out, slay me. And so I slew Saul, and I brought you his crown. And what did David in the scriptures say? Pegabo. I've been talking with some of my Hebrew-speaking brothers. Pegabo, I don't think the word paga, brothers and sisters, means meat, like they try to poorly translate. Pega, I believe, means attack or assault. That's what I got. Pagas, meat, yeah. Gamel shin, pagash meat. Paga, that you see in the book of Samuel, fall on him, which means assault him. Pegabo, deal with that in so many layman terms. And David said, your mouth has testified that you slew the anointed of the Most High. Sin crouches at the door, and to you is this desire. We know the wisdom says what? Separate from thy enemies and take heed to thy friends. If I had a problem with Saul and I didn't put him to death, then what will make you think that I will commend you for doing something that I didn't do when I could have, but I knew better not to do it? Sin crossed at the door, to you is the desire. Come to find out, that guy didn't even put Saul to death. Saul passed away. He had suicide. But you want to take the glory to say, I did it when you didn't even do that, which there was no glory to be in that in the first place. You thought it was. You thought everything will be smooth. And I'm not trying to put words that don't exist, but I believe, this is what I'm saying, I believe in this part. David would know you got enemies already. If this man did do that to Saul, who also had enemies, this man would do it to me for my enemies. But even if that wasn't in David's mind, the anointed of the Most High, you leave alone. There's rank, there's order. You just don't do you. You don't move like that. Well, I move with me, because, my feeling, what I'm saying? I was in my feelings, so, I did what I did, you know what I'm saying? No, I don't know what you're saying. And you don't know what you're saying. And what we all need to do is say we need to get better. You understand? So, brothers and sisters, in looking at this, let's continue, family, in this manner. All right? Let's go here. Alms, something such as money or food given freely to relieve the poor. Let us read, brothers and sisters, in Ezekiel 18, verse 7. And let's see what it says in that particular case. All right? We are in, brothers and sisters, Ezekiel. All right? 18. And we're going to read in verse 7 and see what it says. And have not wronged any, but have restored his pledge for a debt, have taken naught by robbery, have given his bread to the hungry. What? Have given his bread to the hungry. Not, I got it, you got to get it too. Feel me? No, we're not supposed to feel that. You're supposed to help your neighbor, not say, I got mine, you get yours. And have covered the naked with a garment. So when we start talking about alms and peace offerings, and people offer things, they might be doing it for an atonement of sin. They may be doing it because they have it in their heart to do so. If you're not the person to accept it, then let the person hold on to it until one can, or one has the heart to do so. But it doesn't make you a bum mindset to accept. It makes you a bum mindset to take and never have anything to give back on whatever it is. And have not wronged any. You didn't waste somebody's time portraying yourself to be one who can help and cannot do so. But have restored his pledge for a debt. I didn't tell you that I can teach you French, and the only other language I know besides English is Hebrew. I'm not wasting your time. That's wronging somebody. Have taken naught by robbery. You're not trying to, as we've been reading, sin crouched at the door. To you is his desire. You wasn't living like the original 50 Cent out of Brooklyn. The rapper 50 Cent got the name, he took the name, or used the name, if you will, from a Rotzeach and a Gozel. Rotzeach means murderer, Gozel means robber. The original 50 Cent robbed a lot of people. And where is he? Sin crouched at the door. To you is his desire, but you can rule over it. He didn't allow it to rule over him. He robbed another and another, and a sister and a brother, like Slick Rick said. You understand? And have given his bread to the hungry. Not, as stated, well, get yours, I got mine. That's not the spirit to have. You understand? Let's continue with the next part, family, in this. We are in Proverbs 31, verse 20. And let's see what we can ascertain in that. All right, Proverbs 31, verse 20. Thank you for that, family. Right? And let's gather in this particular case. It says regarding the virtuous woman, she stretcheth out her hand to the poor. Yea, she reaches forth her hands to the needy. So if she reaches forth her hands to the needy, is she not also those people that feed the hungry? She stretcheth out her hand to the poor. Not, I got it. She got to get hers. She got to get theirs. Can't ask me for nothing. Bleep the world. Don't ask me for bleep. That's not the way virtuous people move. You help your brothers, your sisters. You help your sons, your daughters, your nieces, your nephews, your cousins, your real friends. I want to put it like this. Your biological and your quote fake cousins in the black community. Because sometimes when we say cousins, it's not always biological. You help out both sides, be it your aunt's children, your uncle's children, by marriage or otherwise, or just somebody so close you call them, hey, cuz. You help them out as well. You understand? And you don't hold it over their head. But that person who got the help is supposed to reciprocate, not just be a loqueak, a taker, or a loquat for the feminine. A taker. No, that's not good. That is something we wanted to talk about. You see how in Proverbs 31 it talks about the female, and in Ezekiel chapter 18 it talks about the male. They both are responsible for helping, as we call and understand, the community. Not, I got mine, you got to get yours. It's real like that. It's so hard in truth because we don't help each other out. Did you know that? Do you know that the Black community goes through so much stuff because we don't deal interdependently? We deal individually. We don't pull together. We take from one another and don't reciprocate. We drive the car spiritually in front of others' cars and move slow. We're like, and it's not to be disrespectful, but we're going to speak upon it. We're like the woman that was in the time of Solomon. It be neither mine nor hers, kill it. Really? Really, ma'am? I said, fetch me a sword, because I don't know whose baby this is. Because I need to find out who's the mom. So I said, fetch me a sword, and I'm going to cut the baby in half. You get a part of the baby, you get the other part. And you're going to tell me if it be neither mine nor hers. Kill it. So you want me to murder the baby. That's essentially what you just told me to do. That's not a mommy. The other woman, by comparison, said, no, give it to her before you do something like that. So this is not to be self-centered. I met those kind of spiritual women as I got closer with my princess. When I said, who comes first in a man's life? Is it his mother, his baby's mother, his wife, or his daughter? BT, my daughter. That's the future. That comes first. You got to invest in the future. Because this woman in Proverbs 31, she already got it, as we say, got it together. Her husband is already known when he sits among the elders. Your daughter, on the other hand, is still getting it together. And what I found, not to be sexist, is that women who I thought were cool or friends or so forth were, and I hate to have to say it like that, seemingly kind of jealous of the little baby. She will always be a baby to me. You understand? You're supposed to be, as I was told, emotionally mature to sit there and know you have to spend time with your child, but put everybody else on the same platform. You do not belong on the same platform with a child. You know how parents tell their children, you're my child and I'm the parent, not your friend? I did a video upon that, but let's take that as many of us state and have been told. I ain't one of your little friends. I'm not your friend. So if parents have been telling their children for quite some time, I ain't your friend, I'm your parent, then why do you have, not to be sexist, women who think that they can be in a man's life as a friend and be on the same equal matter of his daughter when his daughter is not, according to many parents, his friend, but his child? Because one was supposed to stay as Pookie and Ray Ray and not mend the breach between him and his child, or her and, because there's a female Pookie too, and her child. There are some men who tell women, essentially, you got to, choose between me and your kid. And when a man does that, and she sits there and says, like the song says, not without my child, there was a song like that, not without my child. But when a man does it, it's kind of like, not without my child. It's like, what? The wife is supposed to come first. How is the wife supposed to come first? I need a number 4 in the chat if I can be heard well and people in good spirits. Let's shut that down right now. Who comes first in a man's life? Is it his wife, his daughter, his baby's mother, or his mother? If I can be heard well and people in good spirits, we're going to show how it's not the wife. And no disrespect, not trying to talk anti-marriage. Thank you for typing that in. If the man and the woman are one flesh in the Bible, and the Bible is what people citing saying the wife is first, that's that new book. Paul also said in Corinthians that he hoped men will like him without a wife. That's that new book. If we're dealing with marriage was first established and say the old book, let's get back to that if we will. Like in Jeremiah, where the good way is in the old past, as it says in Jeremiah chapter 6. Right? Let's look, family. If the man and women are one flesh, how can I, being one flesh with the lady, put her first? It's not her, it's us. Otanu, us. But women, not to be sexist, who are not equally yoked, who are not thinking oneness, unity, camaraderie with her husband, she will want to be first. She doesn't see him on, quote, her level and next to her, building together. So anytime, brothers, a woman says, looking at that kind of matter, who comes first in a man's life, and she says wife, and not daughter if he has one, she don't see you as one flesh with her. Basar echad in the Hebrew. Because if you are both one flesh together, there's no way possible for you to put her first or she to put him first. Because you're one. That means you put yourselves together. But when one knows they're not about that life, they're not about that unity in life, he can defecate on his daughter, take care of her and her kids, and as far as she's concerned, she's straight. Then we wonder why certain things happen. That's not healthy, family. So let's continue, if we will. 1 Kings chapter 4, verse 20. Let's see what we see, brothers and sisters. All right? First Kings 4, and let's see what we read, family, in this case. Verse 20. Judah and Israel were many as the sand which is by the sea, in multitude, eating and drinking and making merry, meaning that they were happy. 1 Kings chapter 4. Judah and Israel were many as the sand of the sea, in multitude, eating and drinking and making merry. Not eating and drinking in strife. Not eating and drinking in drama. Not eating and drinking and being silent because, like some men and some women say, I don't argue with my lady, we good. You're lying. I don't argue with my man, we good. You're lying. Your man don't argue with you because you're broken. That's why he's silent. Your lady don't voice her opinion, not even per se yelling, because you broke up. So these couples, and I'm not the relationship expert, but having seen some things in life, when you find past people, we don't even argue. It's because one, you probably don't see each other a lot. And when you do see each other, you already broke each other down to where one is timid to even speak his or her piece. The sea in the water has a tempest. You might see a lot of pictures of things I post with the sea or the trees and so on. When the wind goes, the trees can move. And I do mean the trees itself, not just the branches and leaves. The tree itself, if you will. So Israel and Yahudah were eating and drinking and making merry, not being quiet, talking about, we don't even argue. You're lying. You're broke. He broke up. She broke him. That is why you don't quote unquote argue. But you know there's Ein Shalom. There's no peace, no tranquility, no camaraderie, no sharing of ideas that might lead into a little tempest. Voices may get raised, and then in love, let's bring it back down and reason together. See the difference? Let's go, brothers and sisters, and read in the Apocrypha, Ecclesiasticus 6, verse 13. And let's see what we can see in that particular case. All right? Apocrypha. KJV, because that's what many people use. And we're going to go into, brothers and sisters, the book of Ecclesiasticus or Sirach, chapter 6, brothers and sisters, 6. And we're going to read in verse 13 that says this: separate thyself from thine enemies and take heed to thy friends. Now, I don't see a Hebrew version, but to my understanding, how you say that in Hebrew is separate is the word habdel. Habdel or hitbadal, separate thyself, reflexive. Hitbadal mean oibeka, from your enemies. And take heed to thy friends. Wa Hishamer lekeb rekem, and take heed. Hishamer, to take heed. Kab rekem, your friends. This is the, if we were to translate, to basic Hebrew in that particular matter. But we read here in Ecclesiasticus chapter 6, verse 13 in the Apocrypha. I like it because it has a lot of good advice. Separate thyself from thine enemy. So don't stay in a relationship that's toxic. We don't say it's toxic, so therefore it ain't toxic. You're lying to yourself. If you are saying things but not trying to work on those things that you want to say, that's not healthy. You are wasting your time and perhaps others. And see, what happens is this. When people find out you're a time waster, you see how quick they'll cut you off. I've seen that. When people confided and trusted and hoped in him or her or them and find out he or she or they were a time waster, quickly does one cut off that matter and move on. And when I say fast, I mean very fast. I've known people who worked their jobs for over 5 years, took a day off, separating from the enemies, had an interview, got hired by the other job, and started that next day. After a 5-year relationship at the job. People, let's understand, people get tired of trying. Eventually, while not having the spirit of giving up, people have the spirit of moving on, which is a little different between the two. In that particular case, brothers and sisters, separate from thy enemies and take heed to thy friends. Let us continue, family. And as we begin this matter here, we're going to read in the Torah, Leviticus chapter 25, verse 35. And let's see what we can gather in this. Leviticus chapter 25. All right. And let's see what we see in this. Leviticus 25, verse 35 says the following. And if thy brother be waxen poor, and his means fail with thee, then thou shalt uphold him. As a stranger and a settler shall he live with thee. Take thou no interest of him or increase, for fear thy Elohim, that thy brother may live with thee. Thou shalt not give him thy money upon interest, nor give him thy victuals for increase. It's talking about how you treat people, brothers and sisters. All right? What are we seeing in this? Leviticus chapter, thank you for typing that in, 25, verse 35 to verse 37. And if thy brother be waxen poor, you don't call him a bum. You don't sit there and say, what happened with the application I gave you, Op? It says this, and his means fail with thee, then thou shalt uphold him. You help your neighbor out. You help your brother out. Not what we have been seeing online with black people online sometimes. There was a dumb video, for the lack of a better term, where the young man was shown working. But because of the hours that the man worked, and he couldn't make it, quote, to his quote unquote step-parents' house at a certain time, the person was then locked out. I don't want nobody coming to my house after 10, but the man is coming from working. See, he married the mother, but did not respect her family. So what, and I'm not a psychiatrist, have many black men and women done in regards with how we've been treating each other, AKA for survival? Brothers, black men do what they call in part passport bros. There's a book written in the 1980s called Black Men Say Goodbye to Misery. An Israelite wrote it. His name was Yeshua Barak. The book is about black men not dealing with, as he said, the disrespectful attitude that black women have. An Israelite brother by the name of Yeshua Barak wrote a book, and I'm not saying I'm in agreement with it, called Black Men Say Goodbye to Misery. Get rid of her and her nasty attitude. There's a book that they used to sit there and sell in New York in the 90s that came out, if I remember right, in the 80s. And what have some sisters done? Swirl. I saw that not just too long ago. That situation with Ashley Janae didn't teach you nothing. They now saying, oh, she committed suicide in Tanzania. Okay. You understand? So because we have been used to deliberately disrespecting, manipulating, mistreating one another, we've developed as men and women, and I'm not a psychiatrist, a war. I can't trust him, I can't trust her kind of spirit. There is a part in the scriptures in Deuteronomy when it says, if thy brother needs help, okay, sorry about that. If your brother needs help, you do not let it burden your heart. I got to help this man. It's about the year of Jubilee. And if he don't pay me back, I ain't going to get paid back. Don't think like that. What happened to love thy neighbor as thyself? Which means you got to love yourself. So why would you want to be a hindrance to your own self? Why take and not give? And if you don't know what to give, ask what to give. As a stranger and a settler shall he live with thee. Do you know the Hebrew says about living is this word we're going to show here? Wakai. If you look on the left-hand side of the screen, that's shown in the blue. And live, kaya, to live. Not just haya, to exist. So what are we perhaps showing in that? You and your neighbor living in unison, respecting, honoring, cherishing, upholding, not scamming and scheming, not lying and denying. Brothers and sisters, the kind of character that is needed for us to be well. Verse 36, take thou no interest of him or increase. Don't do what is understood to have been done by that guy, the swindler, Umar Johnson, in his fixed school that does not exist, where somebody was living in, to our understanding, inside the school in Wilmington, was hired to be like the handyman and the cleaner, and so was not paid, and then had to sit there and deal with taking that guy Umar to court. Don't do that. Don't see your brother being waxing poor and sit there and do stuff like that. See these other nations with these other gods? They don't have laws like this. That's why the Torah, it doesn't say there is not another concept on earth outside of itself. It says that it is the best concept on earth of itself. But thou shalt fear thy God, that thy brother may live with thee. And again, we see ka, regarding, or in this case, hey, showing the matter of its present tense. Ahika inka, your brother with thee. Let's continue, family. Thou shalt not give him thy money upon interest. So if you give money and it's $5, you don't say you owe me $6. Nor give him thy victuals for increase. Whatever your victuals are, you don't sit there and say, well, you got to now give me based upon that, when a person is still trying to pull himself or herself up of a situation. You help your neighbor. You know what we have black people been saying, no disrespect? If they're in that situation, must have been their fault. That's not how the great prophet Moses thought. The great prophet Moses didn't think that Hebrew that I see getting beat must have done something. No, I'm going to go and help my brother. You understand? There's a movie called Quilombo about the Maroon community that was based in Palmares in Brazil. And there's a scene in there when one of the enslavers, the Portuguese, was flogging or beating a man. And in it, there's said to be later leader named Ganga Zumba, took that man that was beating the other man and slew him. Kind of like you might read in the Bible regarding Moses seeing his brother being beaten and slew the person doing it. Now, some people have taken that situation, believe it or not, say with Moses like this. He's a murderer. They try to say that Nat Turner was a murderer. Nat Turner wasn't a murderer. Moses was not a murderer. But if you have the mindset of the slave master, the oppressor, of course you're going to sit there and think it's murder. If you don't understand that the Israelites were being oppressed by the Philistines, Samson is a villain to you. Samson made a riddle in one city of the Philistines and attacked the other. He's a madman. Nat Turner's a madman. Moses, that's the Old Testament. We give you something that says love thine enemies. Don't separate from your enemies and take heed to your friends. But if you love those that love you, what good have you? That is what was given in place of the Torah to the house of Israel after slavery. Did you know the New Testament says that if you love those who love you, what good have you? The answer to that is unity. You're able to see your brother and help him out. You're able to see your sister and want to help her out. You try to find ways to help your brother and sister. Did you know, not to get too personal, when a brother was not feeling one's best, the brother you see as the moderator came and assisted and helped me get things? May the Most High bless him for such. Took out of his own time. We all got relatives and families and so on, and came to see a brother who was in need. That's what Bergen Paris did, for those who know. That's what you call brotherhood. Found out, how can I be of assistance? Not, well, I got to find out a brother was in the hospital, not to get too personal. What are the, do you know when somebody is playing games and not being 100 about really wanting to help? This is what happens, not trying to be disrespectful. What are the visiting hours? I got to know. Nobody's telling me nothing. And you didn't really ask because you wanted to know. Because nobody told you not to sit there and come through. You just didn't want to come through, but you had to try to find a reason. You didn't love and you don't love your brother and your sister in your heart. And you can't fake that love. It's real talk. Let me find out how I can help. I'm not a doctor, but for those who were listening to the video, say earlier in the week, when I did a thing when some said doctor talking about eating pork for people who have diabetes, no. I can't legally tell anybody to take bitter melon on or offline. I can tell you what helps me having a high A1C, which is bitter melon. Bitter melon helps, but I can only say legally that. You can look it up online if it works for you. That's what you call brotherhood. You shall love thy neighbor as thyself. People, not to get too personal, perhaps don't understand my relationship with my ex, my daughter's mommy. Let me help you out where I can, and you can help me out, and so on. My princess, not to get too personal, has a little baby brother. When I say little, I mean he's a baby. His mother has him around the Hebrew classes. And she told me, brother, the other stuff you talk about, your language might be, I said, I don't curse, I really try not to. You understand? But like some of the things you talk about, maybe I understand respect not for a baby, but that language, I want my son to hear that. He's not my child biologically, but because her and I are exes, and not to get too personal, the lady is married. I am in a relationship. I am courting with the lady. Some people may not understand. Certainly with our princess being a grown woman now, well, y'all still talk about her little prince and who can help who and how. I'm not going to get too personal about how far the help goes, but it's not minuscule. I say that real talk. You know, there's some people who have a problem with that. You got men who have a problem with that. She says that the man that she's married to, who I am friends with, is of a mature nature to even be okay with her ex being a person that is teaching their boy. Every man ain't built like that. When I got back closer with my princess, there is only, and I don't mean to shame nobody, of all the women in the house of Israel, of all the relatives outside of one of my three sisters, not to get too personal, that, quote, as the saying that goes, understood the assignment. There is one lady in Israel that my princess was able to sit there and hear and relate with, share ideas and learn things from. Listen to one's platform. Everybody is not built like that. Every ex, because I hate the term baby's mother, every ex is not okay with her princess being told something from some other lady. We're going to keep the language clean because not every ex says the word lady about other women, but we keeping the language clean. So as we've been saying, brothers and sisters, and changing character and changing how you move, people remember your foolishness just as much as I remember opening up the drawer and closing it in my first act of theft, which I no longer do and deal with. You have people who are going to be in your corner and in your circle, in your circumference. My little princess needed to talk about things that she knew she could not talk to me about. Let me be very candid, not to get too personal. We read, and if the flow of a woman goes outside of the cycle, what should happen? There's only two people, if I'm not mistaken, that princess was able to relate with and talk with. What happens in this way when the cycle of a woman dealing with her uncleanness or her menses, when that happens? But if you're not built to talk about that, don't waste people's time as if you are. I didn't know what to say, and she never asked me. So when we start talking about, not again to get too personal, and then women who were helping Princess take this herb for this, find out why the cycle is not going according to a certain way, not to sound gross, but talking about life. What happens? How do you deal with that? If you're not built for that, like I'm not built to teach any boy or girl about painting and sculpting and artwork, I'm going to ask somebody who I know. Pass it on to someone else who can help. Don't waste people's time. Because like I said, when you find out or be found out for such, you'll be surprised how quick people cut off, must move on, can't sit there, must roll around the car that came in front of me and tried to slow me down. I dealt with a company, and it works good for some people, artists, not artists, authors. I'm an author for those who do know. There is a company called Lulu, and I'm not here to bash them. There are dozens and dozens of people who deal with Lulu.com as far as getting their published books out. Me personally, it didn't work for me. KDP, Kindle Direct Publishing, under Amazon worked for me. I point that out to say this. Lulu.com as an author did not work for me, but another company did. So don't waste anybody's time. Don't sit there and be a meek shoal or a stumbling block. Hi. Let's talk. What do you want to talk about? I don't know. Well, when you find out, you let me know. Because I got to make moves. And in making moves, I've already talked about it while I'm making a move. You see me making this move right here and publishing or whatever the subject is. Help me out if you can. If you can't, then so be it. That is how we're supposed to respectfully move. And like I was pointing out, there's a lady in Israel who, when I asked her about making me more flyers, when she made me one, no, Yeshaya. No. Now I know. No hard feelings. Well, how come? I ain't got to ask how come. There's so many people who do it, many who do. If one doesn't, somebody else will. And it doesn't sound like some harlotry stuff because we're not talking about a matter of relationship. And well, I get bored. Be careful about that, brothers and sisters, when you hear somebody say that, not to be trying to sound like a relationship expert. I get bored quickly. Bye-bye. Because if there's a dry spell, you're going to leave me. Men in Israel, men, pay attention. I'm not the relationship expert. But when it can be said, Bathsheba didn't have no choice with David. He was the king. This is not to say the adultery act is all on her or all on him. But brothers and sisters, you got to speak your truth. Dawid, we cannot do this. And if his character is right, sin crossed at the door, he's going to let it not rule over him. He's going to rule over it. But if you were the type, he was the king. So if I'm not the king and we married and the king happens to want you as whatever, you going to do that? That's not good. Pay attention. Again, I'm not the relationship expert, but pay attention. Dead President's the movie. We talked about movies before, right? We don't need his money. That's what Lawrence Tate, forgot the person's name in the movie, was saying to the lady when she got Cuddy's money. And we know what Cuddy was about in Dead President. Even if I wanted to give it back to him, he wouldn't take it. What do you mean? Pay attention. What do you mean if you wanted to give it back? Which means it sounded like you didn't want to give that dirty money back. You understand? Sin crossed at the door. To you, it's his desire, but you can rule over it, whatever that sin is. See that guy in Dead Presidents that was playing the preacher who got arrested? He didn't allow sin to not rule over him. He didn't allow sin to not rule over him, is what I'm saying. He allowed it to rule over him. That's not good. There's so many different examples about this kind of matter, brothers and sisters. Cleon, thank you for that. All right? Yeah, in the movie, the guy name was Cleon in it. So when somebody approaches you with something that's wicked, don't deal with it. Don't be surprised. When people want to be that voice to perhaps help you. Rejecting that, brothers and sisters, and if it's of the Most High, You are rejecting what the Most High wants you to know and be about. And there are no blessings in that. You understand? We used examples from the movie Paid in Full. We attempted to use an example using different races, not to sound like a racist. Using different examples, brothers and sisters, about not being a time consumer. May she rest in peace. My mother used to work in regards with the transit. And one of the jobs that she had in it was a timekeeper. She used to be the person to track people's time and send in the payroll kind of thing, if you will. She had to be on top of that. She had to sit there and be careful with that. Brothers and sisters, if you're not built for something, don't waste any. I know I said it, but if you're not built for something, don't waste people's time. I sat with who is to be my son-in-law, and we spoke, and we spoke, and we spoke. And one of the things that the young man said to me is that, and he's heard it from someone else, not that he doesn't have wisdom, he does. And the somebody who we heard it from is my princess's stepdad. People run after babies. And it's not to be sexist, mainly women. Be they their cousins, their aunts, the mom too. People run after babies when a baby does number 2 or feces. And calls at that time that child stink. I remember hearing and seeing this too. I've heard it coming from the young man. He hearing it from little one's stepdad. But here is what we're talking about. It is one thing for a grown aunt, a grown mother, a grown cousin, a person responsible enough to know how to clean a child, diaper, clean the baby, dispose of the diaper in a cool place, while saying, stink, come here, I got to change you. Some babies don't cry when they make waste. They run around or sit in it in certain cases. But for those babies who run in that and who are called by grown people, stink is one thing. That seems to be cute to them. But it's a whole opposite matter when you expect the younger ones to run after your old behind when you're full of feces. You don't get the stink. You get the funk. We keeping it clean. You wasted my time when you want and expect people to kiss your stank behind in spirituality or otherwise. The baby may not know the deepness of why he or she is being in part chased while having feces upon himself or herself. He or she may not understand, being that age, not to knock on age, about diseases that can come from that, ailments that can come from that, that it's waste, so it's made to continue to get away from you. That baby doesn't understand that kind of stuff. So while, not to be redundant, grown men, more so grown women, not to be sexist, are calling this little prince or princess running in his or her excrement, and saying, stink, stink, I got to change you, come here. That is one thing and is considered cute by many people. But there is nobody in their right mind that thinks running after an adult stink behind. And you expect the youth to do it and to be treated like the baby is treated and being quote unquote cutely called stink stink. You are funk. You are a waste. That's not good. One of the things in getting older, and I'm not the oldest or the youngest, that I dreaded when I was younger, seeing, not to be disrespectful like in Israel, and it's not to knock Israel, but it's not only among knowledgeable Israelites. One of the things I dreaded, scared of, is the only thing you can say of yourself is how many years you lived on earth. You got to respect me because of my age. You're supposed to, as it says in Proverbs, a wise man leaves an inheritance to his children's children, not just live the breadth of life and put nothing into the earth for the future. Whatever your gift is, find out what your gift is. Is it motivating? Is it spirituality? Is it mathematics? Is it cooking? Is it science? Is it, because it says in the book of Daniel, they knew the science. Is it a matter of anything that you can be utilized respectfully for the future? Or was it just about you being treated like stink stink? You think it stopped with you? You think all of that was done for you? No. A brother, not to be self-centered, wrote history books. I have a child who is not into history. So who is supposed to deal with the books, not to call certain energies out when a brother is no longer here? What happens then? And I'm not trying to make it all about me and the family, but Little Princess is not into history like that. And the Persian Empire, I see my baby's expression, Dad, I love you, but I'm good. I don't know the Persians. Dad, we're Israelites, right? Yes, we are. And you talk about Assyria. Didn't the Assyrians attack the Israelites? Yes, they did. And you talk about them why. And she asked me that. And I said, to let the history be known for those who are interested. And she said, in response, I just can't get it. My child looked at me. As much as I love history, because your children are going to have their own spirit and where it goes. You're, as a parent, are supposed to make sure it doesn't go in the wrong direction. You're supposed to guide that. So that means your children have to talk. So parents, who sit there and be like, the children stay in the child's place. I saw a thing where they had Michael Jackson's mother talking to Michael Jackson's father when Michael Jackson terminated him as the manager, say, I'm gonna beat that boy. He's a grown man. Joe never seen Mike as a grown man. Joseph did not see Michael as a grown man. Michael Jackson, for what he did regarding the hiring or so with his dad, he did that as a person. In business. His mother was saying, you're not going to hit him. It's a grown man right there. And you have people, brothers and sisters, who, this is something I think I'm still learning. When I see my princess, I'm like, am I still seeing a 2-year-old that was playing with toys on the floor in 2008? Or is this a 20-year-old who's going to be married next month? Who am I looking at? I had to grow up. I had to mature. I had to begin and see this is not the 2-year-old who you named Shalosha meaning 3. He's Zemuka Aksha. She's a grown woman now. He tiye la isha la ish. She's going to be a wife to a man. With ula yella yeladim with yeladot. And maybe she will have male children and female children. But if, brothers and sisters, I did not grow and mature in that say particular matter, when you find people, as you're talking about how much one says make an impression, and didn't try to take out the time to learn the princess. I have not been the best father. I'm not going to sit there and proclaim as such. Even in trying to reconnect, there are things that I've done that were not the best. She said, I respect the fact you wanted to be back in the life of mine and help me, and I can learn from you, and you make me feel that I can teach you something, because she knows a lot about animals. It's no. If I didn't do that, I would not be invited to give her away. There are matters, and it has been discussed, where the father of the child was rejected. Understandably, we're not talking about whoever got the most money, no. Because he, in the Pookie and Ray Ray spirit, was okay in staying being a deadbeat. He put the woman that spoke to Solomon, it be neither mine nor hers, kill it. He put that type first. The understanding that I have of the sons of God going into the daughters of men is not angelic beings from the heavens coming down and having sex with human females. No. That is not the teachings on Danitepublications. And there's a video that I have called Angels and Humans Did Not Have Sex. I'm going to see if I can pull that particular video up and share it. Because I even cited Joshua to sit there and get that point across out in that particular matter. Sorry about that. If I can be heard well and people in good spirits, please press the number 4. Thank you for the time. All right. I want to go, if we will, to YouTube. All right. And I call the video, brothers and sisters, Angels and Humans Did Not Have, and I use that word, have sex. And I believe, yeah, I can sit there and perhaps have to put my name in it. All right. Yeshaya Israel. All right. Hopefully, trying to find my own video in this. Angels and Humans Did Not Have Sex. Moreh Yeshaya Torah Lessons. Here it is, brothers and sisters, for those who are interested. This is on the platform, Moreh Yeshaya Torah Lessons. All right. So with a copy over here. Thank you for pressing the number 4 for those who did in that particular case. So we do not teach on Moreh Yeshaya Torah Lessons, Danitepublications, that angels and human beings had sex. All right. So my understanding, brothers and sisters, of the sons of God with the daughters of men, or men on the level of Moses and Aaron with women who are like the one that was speaking to Solomon. It be neither mine nor hers, kill it. It's like women like Jezebel. Don't worry, Ahab. Mommy got you, you big baby. She don't see him as a man. Or those type who manipulate, perhaps, run game, like what was done, and it came to our own demise. And I remember speaking upon that, all right? Delilah's game, when Samson passed, she passed. She's trying to run that game, and it also cost her life. Brothers and sisters, you understand? So those are things, brothers and sisters, that's not good. Don't be an idiot. Don't be a fool. Don't be a stumbling block. Don't be a contentious person, male or female alike. Know your role. Live your potential. Stop playing games. Have more fun, real good fun, honest, respectful fun, because games are for dingbats. As we begin to close out, family, I want to, on the human level, give respect to my brother, Bergen Paris. It definitely means a lot, pressing at number 4. All right. And my older brother in spirit, It's All Good, who just typed in, she didn't even get to enjoy the bag she chased. Something to be said. Yes. She was, quote, as stated, chasing that bag. Because if I remember right, Delilah was going to get paid for having Samson delivered, but she didn't even get that. See what happens? So teach your children in a way that you and your children can relate. And don't feel away if your child is learning something, and be teachable at the same time. That whole thing that was rampant, in the Black community, children staying in their place. I remember asking somebody, my child has X amount of time, less than say a year or two, before she is no longer a said child. What do I do in the meantime? The answer was, I don't know. So let me understand this. You're telling me to stay or have the child stay in the child's place, but you have no advice on what this said child should be doing or what I should be doing regarding this said child. Then how is he supposed to stay in a certain place? And how is the child supposed to grow by being stayed in a certain place? What are you raising? Who are you raising? Again, do you think it started and stopped with you? Or is there something greater, as it says, we are to be greater than our ancestors? So, may sound a little redundant, but stop being a hindrance. Brothers and sisters, on a human level, giving respect to my brother in spirit, It's All Good, and my other brother, Bergen Paris, who's the moderator, is definitely appreciated. So, not to sound haughty, just want to put that out there. All right, we're gonna play one song or so and then begin to close out. Thank you for the time, family.
Burning in my soul, that we've been going through from the time in the heaven you flavor your things that make me wanna cry. The things that make me wanna die. Stretch my arms out to you. I pray to thee again, Most High. Israel, hear me. We all we have. Israel, hear me. We all we have. We all we have. We all we have. Israel. Please save thy people, Israel. Most High, we need you so. We need you so, Ha'eliel. Havarak, Amin, Avi-Eli. Please save me. Please save me. Israel, hear me. We all we have. We all we have, yeah. Israel, hear me. We all we have. We all we have. Oh, save my people, Israel. Please save Israel. Most High, we need you so. We need you so, Ha'eliel. Havarak, Amin, Abi-Eli. Please save me. Please save me. Israel, save me. We all we have. We all we have. We all we have, yeah. Israel, hear me. We all we have. We all we have. We need each other. Israel, need each other. We all we have. Israel, hear me. We all we have. We all we have. We all we have, yeah. Israel, hear me. We all we have. I said we need each other. Israel, hear me. We all we have. Father, Israel, hear me. We all we have. Israel, hear me. We all we have. Listen, get away from all the sins that I have and the things that lead me astray. I know if I strive, I would reach my Lord. Say like I knew not Yahweh, Yahweh, Yahweh. My troubles make me wanna just run away. The pressure is on, what shall I do? I feel like I have nobody, no one to lean on, so I choose you, Heavenly Father. But please don't make me cry. The morning shade is heavy on me, ripping my soul, tearing my soul alive. Get away from all the sins that I have and the things that lead me astray. I know if I strive, I would reach my Lord. Say like I knew not Yahweh, Yahweh, Yahweh. Yes, I'm trapped like Jonah in the fish. I wish I never made that move that took me off to the evil ways that'll cut your days and kill your babes. How long will I be crucified? Your mind can't take me alive. Chastise me, but keep me out of the hands of men who wanna see me burnt alive. Get away from all the sins that I have and the things that lead me astray. I know if I strive, I would reach my Lord. Say like I knew not Yahweh. Get away from all the sins that I have and the things that lead me astray. I know if I strive, I would reach my Lord. Say like I knew not Yahweh. Yahweh, away from all the sins that and the things that lead me astray. I know if I strive, I will reach my goal.
Brothers and sisters, we are on the platforms of Mordeh Yeshaya, Torah lessons, Mordeh Yeshaya, Hebrew lessons, and Mordeh Yeshaya, Old Testament. I am going to, in the description, brothers and sisters, put the links to the videos that we talked about regarding whether or not angels and human beings had sex, which they did not. The video about the Torah or the New Testament to choose from by our brother, it's all good. So check the description, brothers and sisters, when this is uploaded by 10 p.m. tonight. It is now Eastern Standard Time, 9:13. And I intend to have a list of videos dedicated to what we were talking about for those who are interested within that. All right, now the history lesson that we were talking about from last week, we went over some of the slides of it, and we were going to go over some tonight. We're not doing that tonight, brothers and sisters, with the timing, with needing something to eat, and so forth and so on. So we intend, brothers and sisters, to do the history lesson on the platform, Mordeh Yeshaya History Lessons at 8 p.m. July 26, 2026. All right. So for those who are interested in that particular case. All right. So subscribe to the channel and channels, whatever you watch this on. And we do, again, hope and pray that everybody is well and will be better. All right. My number, 908-587-4841. I do not claim to know everything, and I am open, brothers and sisters, to constructive criticism.